Broken, that's how it feels when your world shatters. But what if that shattering isn't an end, but a powerful beginning? Today, we delve into a story not just of pain, but of profound transformation. Deepest wounds can forge strongest spirits. Heartbreak, far from being a final chapter, can be the very crucible in which resurrection begins. This isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving. Finding a strength you never knew you possessed. Right when you thought you had nothing left, you discover your true power. Meet Alara, a young woman whose life, just a few years ago, felt like a perfectly composed melody. She had dreams as vast as the ocean, a career path laid out, and a love that felt like an anchor. Her days were filled with laughter, shared ambitions, and the comforting rhythm of a life destined for happiness. She worked tirelessly as a budding architect, sketching designs that promised to reshape skylines with youthful optimism. Her partner, Liam, was her confidant, her biggest cheerleader, and understood her unspoken thoughts. Their future, they often mused, was a canvas waiting for their shared masterpiece. Then, without warning, the melody stopped. The anchor slipped, the masterpiece crumbled. Liam made a choice that tore their shared canvas to shreds. It wasn't a dramatic explosion, but a quiet, insidious erosion of trust, culminating in a confession that left Alara breathless. Her heart feeling like a fragile glass sculpture dropped from a great height, the world turned to shades of gray. The architectural blueprints on her desk seemed meaningless, her dreams hollow echoes in an empty room. How could this happen? She whispered to her reflection, tears blurring her vision. Everything we built, everything I believed in. Her best friend, Maya, found her days later, huddled in her apartment, surrounded by takeout containers. And a silence that screamed of despair, Maya, ever the pragmatist, tried to offer comfort. But Alara was unreachable. "It's over, Maya," Alara choked out, her voice raw. "My future, it's gone. I don't know who I am without him, without us." Maya held her tight. "Alara, listen to me. This pain, it's real. But it doesn't define you. It's a chapter, not your whole story." But Alara couldn't see it. The heartbreak was a physical weight, pressing down on her, suffocating her. She stopped going to work, her sketches gathering dust. The vibrant young woman now struggled to get out of bed. The silence in her apartment was deafening, each tick of the clock a reminder of time slipping away. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Alara found herself staring at an old photograph. It was of her much younger, standing proudly beside a small bridge model. Her eyes in the photo sparkled with unshakable determination, a fierce joy in creation. A faint memory stirred, the countless hours she'd spent, the frustrations, the moments of wanting to give up. And then the sheer triumph of seeing her vision come to life. A tiny spark ignited within her. It wasn't a grand revelation, but a quiet whisper. "That girl, she's still in here." The next morning, Alara did something she hadn't done in weeks. She showered, dressed, and walked to her desk. She didn't pick up her architectural plans. Instead, she pulled out a fresh sketchbook and a pencil. Her hand trembled, but she started to draw. Not buildings, but abstract shapes, swirling lines, jagged edges. An outpouring of the chaos within her, she drew her pain, her anger, her confusion. And as she drew, something shifted. The act of creation, even in its rawest form, was a release. Days turned into weeks. Alara started small. A walk in the park, a cup of coffee with Maya, a visit to an art gallery she used to love. Each step was difficult, a battle against the inertia of her grief. But she kept going. She started reading again, books on philosophy, resilience, and personal growth. She learned about stoicism, about finding strength in adversity, about choosing your response to life's challenges. One afternoon, while volunteering at a local community center, she overheard a conversation about a dilapidated old building. It was an abandoned library, a relic of a bygone era, now slated for demolition. But the community council was struggling to find a viable alternative, a way to preserve its history. A familiar spark, stronger this time, flared within Alara. She saw not a crumbling ruin, but a canvas. A challenge, a purpose. She approached the council, her voice still a little shaky, but her eyes alight with an idea. What if she proposed we don't just renovate it, but reimagine it? A community hub, a co-working space, an art studio, a place where new stories can begin. The council members were skeptical. It's a huge undertaking, young lady, and we have very limited funds. Alara smiled, a genuine smile that reached her eyes for the first time in months. I know, but I believe in the power of resurrection. I believe in giving old things new life. Let me show you what I can do. She poured herself into the project. The pain of her heartbreak didn't disappear, but it transformed. It became fuel. The meticulousness she once applied to her personal life, she now channeled into her designs. The emotional depth she felt, she infused into the concept of a space that would foster connection and healing. She rallied volunteers, sought out local artists, and presented her vision with a passion that was infectious. There were setbacks, of course, funding issues, bureaucratic hurdles, moments of doubt. When the sheer scale of the task threatened to overwhelm her. Alara, are you sure you can handle this? A council member asked her one particularly frustrating day. It's a lot for one person. Alara looked at the dusty, echoing halls of the old library. I've handled worse, she replied. A quiet strength in her voice. This is different. This is building something new, not just picking up the pieces. Months later, the old library reopened its doors, transformed. It was a vibrant, modern space, yet it retained the soul of its history. Sunlight streamed through newly installed windows, illuminating colorful murals. The old reading rooms were now bustling co-working spaces, the children's section a bright, interactive learning zone. And at its heart, a small, quiet corner dedicated to storytelling, a place for people to share their own journeys. At the grand opening, surrounded by the beaming faces of the community, Alara stood tall. She saw Maya in the crowd, her eyes shining with pride. She saw the council members, their initial skepticism replaced by admiration. And she felt it a profound sense of peace, of accomplishment, of wholeness. The heartbreak hadn't vanished entirely, but it no longer defined her. It had been a brutal teacher, but it had taught her invaluable lessons about her own strength, her capacity for resilience, and the profound joy of creating something meaningful from the ashes of despair. She had not just survived. She had resurrected herself, and in doing so, had helped resurrect a piece of her community. Her journey was a testament to the truth that wounds, though painful, are not always scars of defeat. Sometimes they are the very fissures through which new light can enter, new growth can emerge, and a stronger, more beautiful self can be born. So if you find yourself in the depths of despair, remember Alara. Remember that heartbreak is not the end, but often the fierce, unyielding beginning of your most powerful resurrection. Your story is still being written, and the most inspiring chapters are often forged in fire.